You know, I've spent the better part of 4 decades working with patients, studying natural nutrition, and watching what actually happens when people change their habits. And one of the things I've learnt the hard way sometimes is that the healthiest sounding combinations are not always the safest ones. People over 60 are often the most motivated health seekers I know. They've had a wake-up call, or they've watched a parent suffer, or they've simply decided that the second half of life is going to be different, so they start juicing, they start researching, they find beet juice, and they think perfect, and they're right, beet juice is extraordinary, but then they mix it with the wrong things, and they wonder why they feel worse instead of better. Today I want to walk you through 7 combinations that turn beet juice from a health tonic into something that actively works against you. We're going to go through each one. I'm going to explain exactly what's happening in your body, and then I'll leave you with 5 simple golden rules so that every glass you drink is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. If you drink beet juice regularly, or you're thinking about starting, please watch this all the way through. Some of these combinations are ones that naturopaths and nutritionists recommend, and they are wrong. Let's set the record straight. Before we talk about what to avoid, let me explain why beet juice is worth protecting in the first place. Beets are one of the richest sources of dietary nitrates found anywhere in the plant kingdom. When you drink fresh beet juice, those nitrates begin a remarkable 2-step conversion process. First, the bacteria naturally present in your saliva convert nitrate into nitrite. Then in the acidic environment of your stomach, that nitrite becomes nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is one of the most important signaling molecules in the human body. Its primary job is to tell the smooth muscle cells lining your blood vessels to relax. When those cells relax, your blood vessels dilate. They literally get wider. That means your heart doesn't have to work as hard to push blood through them. Blood pressure drops. Circulation improves. Every organ in your body receives more oxygen and more nutrients with each heartbeat. For people in their 60s, 70s and beyond, this mechanism is especially valuable. As we age, the inner lining of our blood vessels, called the endothelium, becomes less responsive. It produces less nitric oxide on its own. This is one of the reasons cardiovascular disease becomes more common with age. Beet juice essentially provides an external source of the raw material your body needs to keep making nitric oxide, even when its own production starts to decline. Research published in peer-reviewed journals has shown that drinking beet juice can lower systolic blood pressure by 4 to 10 points in some individuals, a result comparable to certain blood pressure medications without the side effects. Other studies have found improvements in cognitive function, exercise tolerance and blood flow to the brain, so beet juice is genuinely powerful, which is exactly why we need to protect what makes it work, and 7 very common food combinations do exactly the opposite. Let's start with the first combination, and I want to begin here because it is the one I see most often. The first combination is beet juice and carrots. At first glance, this pairing seems ideal. Both are root vegetables, both are deeply coloured, both are praised for their nutritional content, but here is the problem that most people don't know about. Both beets and carrots are exceptionally high in oxalates. Oxalates are naturally occurring organic acids found throughout the plant kingdom. In small amounts, your kidneys handle them without any trouble, but when you juice both vegetables together, you're removing all the fibre, the very thing that would have slowed the release of oxalates into your system, and concentrating them into a single glass. The oxalate load in that one drink can be dramatically higher than your kidneys are equipped to process at once. Here is why this matters specifically for people over 50. Your kidneys at 60 are not the same kidneys you had at 30. Kidney function declines naturally with age. Studies suggest that by the time most people reach their 60s, their kidneys are operating at 60 to 70% of their peak capacity. Oxalates that your body would have cleared easily at 30 now linger. They accumulate. They bind with calcium in the urinary tract to form calcium oxalate crystals. And those crystals over time become kidney stones, one of the most painful conditions a person can experience, and one that becomes significantly more common in older adults. Beyond the kidney issue, there is a blood sugar problem. Without fibre to slow absorption, the natural sugars in beet and carrot juice hit your bloodstream rapidly. This triggers an insulin response, causes an energy spike followed by a crash, and contributes to bloating and digestive discomfort. For anyone managing blood sugar, and that includes a very large proportion of people over 60, this matters enormously. My advice is simple: enjoy both juices but on different days. Give your kidneys the time and space to do their work properly. The second combination is beet juice with sugar or honey. I completely understand the impulse here. Beet juice has an earthy, slightly mineral taste that takes some getting used to. It's very natural to want to make it more pleasant by adding something sweet. A teaspoon of raw honey sounds harmless, maybe even beneficial, but I need you to resist this. The entire cardiovascular value of beet juice rests on one biochemical process, the conversion of nitrate into nitric oxide. That process depends on specific bacterial species in your saliva and specific enzymatic conditions in your stomach. When you introduce sugar into the mix, any sugar, whether it's white sugar, brown sugar, agave syrup, maple syrup, or even raw honey, you disrupt that process. Sugar alters the bacterial environment in your mouth and the chemical environment in your gut. The nitrate pathway is interrupted. You're still swallowing the oxalates. You're still absorbing the natural sugars in the beet juice itself. But the cardiovascular benefit, the dilation of blood vessels, the lowering of blood pressure, the improvement in circulation, that is gone. And there's an additional concern specifically for the age group I'm speaking to. People over 60 have a significantly higher rate of insulin resistance and prediabetes than the general population. When you spike your blood sugar first thing in the morning, which is when most people drink their beet juice, you set the hormonal tone for the entire day. An early blood sugar spike tends to trigger cravings, increase inflammation, and make it harder for your body to regulate glucose throughout the rest of the day. If the taste of plain beet juice is genuinely difficult, here is what I recommend. Dilute it with water in a ratio of about 1 part juice to 1 part water, or add a small amount of cucumber juice. Cucumber is neutral, hydrating, gently supportive of kidney function, and it takes the edge off the earthiness of the beet without interfering with anything. Celery juice is another excellent option for the same reason. The third combination is beet juice and orange juice or any citrus fruit. This one surprises people because it sounds so vibrant and healthful. Orange and beet, two beautiful colors, antioxidants from both, vitamin C from the orange. What could possibly go wrong? The answer is fermentation, not the beneficial kind of fermentation you find in sauerkraut or kefir, the disruptive, uncomfortable kind that happens when highly acidic juice meets concentrated natural sugar in your digestive tract. Orange juice has a pH of around 3.5. Grapefruit juice is even more acidic. Beet juice is also moderately acidic, and it contains a significant amount of natural fructose. When you combine a highly acidic liquid with a sugar-rich liquid, you create an environment in your gut that feeds rapid fermentation by intestinal bacteria. The result is gas production, bloating, stomach cramps, and often acid reflux that can persist for several hours. For people over 60 who already have some degree of digestive sensitivity, which is extremely common, this combination can be genuinely debilitating. The stomach lining becomes thinner and more vulnerable with age. Gastric acid production typically declines. These changes mean that fermentation-driven discomfort hits harder and lasts longer in older adults than it would in younger ones. Both citrus and beet juice are excellent additions to your diet. They simply don't belong in the same glass at the same time. Have your orange in the morning and your beet juice 30 minutes before a meal, and both will serve you beautifully. The fourth combination is beet juice and vinegar, most commonly apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar has developed a reputation as a universal health tonic, and there are some legitimate uses for it. But combining it with beet juice is a mistake, and here is the chemistry behind why. Vinegar is primarily acetic acid. Nitrates, the active compounds in beet juice, are sensitive to changes in pH. When acetic acid is introduced, it reacts with the nitrates and converts them into compounds that your body cannot use to produce nitric oxide. This degradation happens quickly within minutes of mixing. By the time the drink reaches your stomach, the nitrate benefit has already been neutralized. There is also a practical concern that goes beyond the biochemistry. Many people who follow health routines drink apple cider vinegar on an empty stomach in the morning. If they then add beet juice to the same routine, they are combining two acidic liquids and delivering them directly to a stomach that has nothing to buffer them. This significantly increases the risk of gastric irritation, nausea, and inflammation of the stomach lining, a condition called gastritis, which is already more prevalent in older adults whose protective stomach mucosa has thinned with age. Keep apple cider vinegar and beet juice completely separate. If you use both, put them at different ends of your day. The fifth combination is beet juice with milk or any dairy product, and this includes adding beet juice to a smoothie that contains yogurt, kefir, or regular milk. Here is what happens at a molecular level. Beet juice has a naturally acidic pH roughly between 4 and 5. Dairy products contain casein, a complex protein that remains stable in its liquid form within a relatively neutral pH range. When you drop the pH by mixing dairy with beet juice, the casein molecules begin to aggregate and denature. In simple terms, the protein curdles. This is not a dramatic visible curdling the way you would see in cheese making. It happens on a microscopic level inside your stomach, but the effect on digestion is significant. Curdled casein is far more difficult for your digestive enzymes to break down. It forms a dense, slow-moving mass in your gut that creates a feeling of heaviness, fullness, and bloating that can last for hours. More importantly, both nutrients suffer. The calcium in the dairy and the iron in the beet juice become less bioavailable when they're trapped in this curdled matrix. You're not absorbing either one properly. Both foods are essentially wasted on each other. If you enjoy smoothies, keep your beet juice separate. Have your yogurt or kefir with breakfast and drink your beet juice at a different time entirely. Your gut will notice the difference immediately. The sixth combination is beet juice and spinach, and this one is genuinely dangerous for people with any history of kidney problems. Spinach is one of the most oxalate-dense foods on the planet. A single cup of raw spinach contains anywhere from 600 to 900 milligrams of oxalates. Beet juice is also high in oxalates. When you combine them in a juice or smoothie without the fiber that would normally slow absorption, you are delivering an enormous concentrated hit of oxalates directly into your bloodstream and urinary tract in a very short period of time. For someone whose kidneys are already working at reduced capacity, which includes the majority of adults over 60, this can trigger the rapid formation of calcium oxalate crystals. I want to be clear, I am not telling you to avoid spinach, and I am not telling you to avoid beet juice. Both are genuinely nourishing foods. The problem is specifically the combination in juice form without fiber consumed at the same time. Eat your spinach in a salad at dinner. Your digestive system will process the oxalates slowly over several hours, and your kidneys will clear them gradually. Have your beet juice in the morning on its own. The two foods separated in this way pose no meaningful risk for most healthy people. And the seventh combination is beet juice with excessive lemon juice. Now, a small amount of lemon is fine and even helpful. A quarter of a lemon can add a pleasant brightness without causing harm. The problem begins when people go further, squeezing in half a lemon or a full lemon, believing that more acid means more cleansing or more detoxification. Beet juice gets much of its therapeutic value from compounds called betalains. These are the pigments responsible for the deep, vivid red color of beets. Betalains are potent antioxidants. They help neutralize free radicals, reduce inflammation, and support liver detoxification pathways. But betalains are chemically unstable in highly acidic environments. When the pH of your beet juice drops significantly, as it does when you add large amounts of lemon juice, the betalain molecules break down. The antioxidant protection they provide is diminished or lost entirely. At the same time, high-dose citric acid reduces your body's ability to absorb non-heme iron, one of the key minerals in beet juice that helps with energy production and oxygen transport in the blood. 1/4 of a lemon is the guideline I use. Beyond that, you're actively working against the very compounds that justify drinking beet juice in the first place. Now, I want to give you 5 practical golden rules. These are not complicated. They don't require special equipment or expensive supplements. They are simply the habits that allow beet juice to do exactly what the research shows it can do. Rule number 1, keep your daily portion to between 100 and 120 milliliters. That is approximately 4 fluid ounces, roughly half a small glass. This amount is sufficient to provide a meaningful nitrate dose without overwhelming your kidneys with oxalates. More is not better. With beet juice specifically, more is often counterproductive. If you want a larger serving, dilute the remainder with water rather than increasing your juice portion. Rule number 2, never add any sweetener of any kind. Sugar, honey, agave, maple syrup, stevia, none of them belong in your beet juice. If the flavor is a barrier, use water, cucumber juice or celery juice to dilute it. These additions are gentle, kidney supportive, and completely neutral in terms of the nitrate pathway. Rule number 3, drink it on an empty stomach. 30 minutes before breakfast. This is the optimal window. When your stomach is empty, the nitrate conversion process runs without competition. Stomach acid is at a useful concentration for activating nitrite into nitric oxide. And because there's no food slowing gastric emptying, the active compounds move into your circulation relatively quickly. Rule number 4, sip it slowly, do not gulp it down. The bacteria in your saliva that initiate the nitrate to nitrite conversion need time to do their work. Every small sip that stays in contact with your saliva for even a few seconds before you swallow contributes meaningfully to the final amount of nitric oxide your body produces. Drinking slowly is not just a preference, it is actually part of the mechanism. Rule number 5, follow a rotation cycle. Drink beet juice for 5 consecutive days, then take 2 days off. This rhythm gives your kidneys adequate time to clear any accumulated oxalates before your next cycle begins. Alternatively, alternate beet juice with other low oxalate juices, carrot and ginger one day, beet the next, cucumber and celery the day after. Your kidneys will thank you for the variety. Before I close, there is one more thing I want to address because I get asked about it constantly. If you start drinking beet juice and you notice that your urine has turned pink or red, please do not be alarmed. This is a condition called beeturia, and it is harmless in the vast majority of cases. It simply means that a portion of the betalain pigment has not been fully metabolized and has passed through your kidneys and into your urine. It looks alarming, but it is nothing more than the natural pigment of the beet passing through your body. However, and this is a nuance worth noting, beeturia is more likely to occur in people who have lower stomach acid. When stomach acid is sufficient, it breaks down beetureas more completely before they can be absorbed into circulation. If you notice consistent and significant pink coloration every single time you drink beet juice, even in small amounts, it may be worth discussing with your doctor because low stomach acid in older adults is associated with reduced absorption of B12, iron, magnesium and other critical nutrients. It is a signal worth paying attention to. Let me bring this together for you. Beet juice is one of the most evidence-backed natural cardiovascular supports available. The research on nitric oxide, blood vessel health, blood pressure, cognitive function and exercise endurance is genuinely compelling. I am not asking you to give it up. I am asking you to protect it. Avoid those 7 combinations: carrots, sugar or honey, citrus, vinegar, dairy, spinach and excess lemon. Each of them disrupts the very process that makes beet juice worth drinking. Keep your portions modest, 4 ounces is plenty. Drink it on an empty stomach and sip it slowly. And build in those 2 rest days each week so your kidneys stay healthy and efficient. When you do those things consistently, beet juice becomes a genuinely powerful tool for supporting your cardiovascular system, your blood pressure, your mental clarity and your energy, especially as you move through your 60s, 70s and beyond. Your heart, your blood vessels and your brain deserve every advantage you can give them, and now you know exactly how to do that. If this was helpful, and I hope it was, please share it with someone you care about. The people in our lives who are working hard to stay healthy deserve accurate information, not guesswork. I will see you in the next video. Take good care of yourself.